saw a couple like posts online of people saying, "I just must smell like barbecue." Well, more than meatballs, by the way.
Well, it's not like ramen or like that.
Yeah.
I think it's got incinerated so quick that
Julie. Michelle, are you still here?
Yes, ma'am.
Madison should probably be in the blue jersey now. She's so tall. But she still have her in like a 5-point harness. Yeah.
he doesn't drink his own bottle. He feeds himself. For whatever reason. No drinking himself, but
Well, it's like a comfort thing, probably. Like, so used to
I want to go to bed. Just feed.
like snuggling in. That's really sweet. I think it's 8 years, and Chris had parent-teacher conferences until he was 15. So Kristen and Marley's oldest daughter is at my house right now.
Both are scheduled about the same.
Yeah.
Does that look right?
Hospital maps on. You're like, the cage, like, telling the guy listen to you, so to put on.
Did you see the new center that's opening? It's right up on 6 and 11 where Dr. Formosa used to be like caregivers for kids. Okay. So Abington early learning, Abington freedom. No, like all the way up.
Oh, okay.
Up the hill as you're getting into Clark Summit. Like
Formosa.
Yeah,
I was thinking
Formosa. Yeah, Formosa's on the right, and then yeah. So Abington Kids Creative Learning Center, which is usually just like preschool and up, they're opening in January, and I would completely trust them. I think that they're like they would be awesome because Abington early childhood, like daycare in Abington. I couldn't, like, it was hard for us. Well, that's why we came to France. But, like, yeah, like, it was just a lot, like, the quality of them. I mean, I'm sure the kids are safe there, you know, but, like, the quality of we were looking for, like, a place where, like, they have, like, a curriculum and, like, actually, like, employed teachers. Yeah.
I'm sure everyone will want to see they'll stand there and educate.
You'll find a good place. I mean, I recommend 100% the University of Grand Early Learning Center. It's not any more than anywhere else. Yeah, there's a waiting list most places, I think. And now that Madison's on like daycare, I mean, that was like much more than I wanted daycare. Yeah, when we were paying like $1,800 now that Madison's out, our bills cut down. This is awesome.
Is everybody signed in? Everybody's okay? Are you, okay. Thank you. You're okay? Okay, then I will call the November 30th, 2021, meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Cruz?
Present.
Mrs. Dempsey?
On the phone, present.
Ms. Fox? Present. Ms. Hume? Present. Mr. Malloy?
Present.
Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mrs. Welby? Present. Mrs. Yanni?
Present.
Ms. Gilmartin?
Present.
9 present.
The transaction of business for which this meeting was called is for general purposes and the adoption of the 2022 budget. Communications to the board. Mrs. Orr?
Yes, executive sessions were held on November 7th, November 8th, November 11th, November 16th, November 29th, 2021, and this evening to discuss personnel, negotiations, litigation, and real estate.
Thank you. At this time, we will entertain public comment. All speakers will have 3 minutes. Union officials will have 4. I would ask you to please adhere to that. When you're asked to wrap up, please do so. Our first speaker this evening, Susan Blum Connors.
My name is Susan Blum Connors, and I'm a resident of Scranton and a retired Scranton School District teacher. I was educated in the Scranton Public School System, went to James Madison, number 33, now closed, from K through 8, graduated from Scranton Central, class of 1968, now closed, taught 11 years at James Monroe, now closed, taught preschool, now closed, at William Prescott, and then 4th grade at William Prescott, and hope that it is not on the chopping block as well. My children and grandchildren graduated from either Scranton High or Central, as did my father, class of 40, my mother, class of 42, my husband, class of 64, as well as numerous other family members who graduated from either Central, Tech, or West. On November 1st of this year, I asked to yield my time to the current speaker, who happened to be my husband, former Scranton Mayor Jim Connors. President Gilmartin, after taking advice from Solicitor Audie, said no. A few days after that meeting, I emailed both President Gilmartin and Solicitor Audie for clarification on that point. After my 4th email in a week, I finally got a response from President Gilmartin. I won't get into all of our exchanges, but she did send me a copy of Public Participation in Board Meetings Code 903. Nowhere in that document could I find anything about yielding time. My suggestion to the board is to put this in writing, either allowing it or disallowing it. I, of course, think it should be allowed. What I did find out, interestingly enough, and what many of you in the audience may or may not already know, is that, and I quote, "No participant may speak more than once on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard," end quote. I spoke to several board members from neighboring school districts, and each said that the board president has the discretion to allow a speaker to go over his/her time by up to 1 minute, provided they are being civil and not being abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. On another matter, I want to encourage the incoming board to reinstate the preschool program, a program that has been proven to work time and time and again, and one that President Biden is encouraging. Bring back elementary school art, music, and library. These are invaluable programs, and for some children, it is their only way to express themselves. I can remember when I was a student at Madison and learned all about the parts of the orchestra, and then had the opportunity to walk to the Cultural Center to hear the Philharmonic rehearse. I may not have appreciated it then, but it certainly made an impact on me if I still remember it 60 years later. We need to give these boys and girls those same enriching experiences. Let's start moving forward, not backward. Let's make the Scranton School District a place where parents want to send their children, and a place of which we can once again be proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Jonathan Nasco.
Good
evening. My name is Jonathan Askell. I am a student at West Scranton High School. I'm here to talk about the music and arts programs, libraries, and etc. that was taken away from us kids about 4 years ago. Now, I did come here about a month ago talking about the same thing, and now things have been a lot calmer now that contracts have been situated. So now it's more easier to focus on the other things for the schools and the students. Now, like Miss Connor said, music, arts, libraries, etc. are children's escapes. Now that's what I had, that's what generations before me had, and now the generations coming to Scranton School District don't have that, in elementary schools or intermediates. And it's sad, because music, one, is soothing, beautiful noise, beautiful sounds. Art, fantastic way to express yourself. Library, people read the books to get their mind away from things that stress them out, to do the research they need, except using their computers. Now there's incidents where we've lost internet in the schools, district-wide, and why can't we use our libraries instead of the Chromebooks when we need to? So there's many of things that are, I'm having a difficult time explaining, my bad. There's a lot of negotiations that could happen with it. There's a lot of options that you could explore with these things. Now, have you guys had an estimate on how much it would cost to get all the instruments district to get fixed? Because if we could get that, that's a start. That's a beautiful start to get that alone, and then start something larger. So we start from there and we just keep going up, slowly and slowly. But we get there at the end of it. And I'm willing, and I will be so happy to see you guys rise and do the right thing. Thank you for your time. This is it.
Thank you, Jonathan. Suzanne Gallo.
Good evening, everyone. I am Suzanne Gallo, first grade teacher at Neil Armstrong Elementary and a proud member of the SFT. I have 3 things that I'd like to say tonight. First of all, there have been 20 school shootings since August 1st, including one in Pennsylvania and, unfortunately, today one in Michigan. At our school, we practice drills and we prepare for what we hope and pray will never happen. Incredibly, at Neil Armstrong Elementary School, we have no working intercom system. Can you imagine in 2021, our principal is unable to publicly speak to the faculty, staff, and students should an emergency situation arise? We must rely on our cell phones, a text message. I teach first grade. I move around the classroom all day, and yet I have to try to be tied to my phone to make sure I don't miss a text message about a potential intruder coming into the building or some emergent situation. And this is very, very disturbing. And I ask you as human beings, as citizens, as parents, as teachers, do you feel comfortable knowing that we don't have a working intercom system, that we cannot collectively speak, have a public speaker in our building over an intercom system? I am hoping and I'm asking you to do something to fix this situation. What can happen, I don't even want to think about. But I would also think that the district has some liability here for having schools that have no intercoms. And Armstrong is not the only school. So I am asking you to please put this on your agenda and do something about this. I was told at one point that this would be fixed when our capital improvements were made. Well, that could not be for another year or 2. Please, please do something about this. We also have no working clocks. It's just not a good situation. The second thing I'd like to say is, just ask is when, maybe also you can put this on your agenda, when will we have water restored to our building? We are using cups and coolers, and it's a mess, and the water spills, and it's time-consuming and messy. I was under the impression that the water would be turned on, but that hasn't happened. And lastly, I know that our district is undergoing many changes, but it seems clear that the goal is to pack our buildings with as many students as possible. And we have buildings that have 27 5-year-olds in one classroom. And I ask the teachers and the parents, just commonsensically, does it make sense to have 27 5-year-olds, 27 6-year-olds, 27 7-year-olds? That is entirely too many students. You talked about fairness and equity. That is not fair or equitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Jennifer Telesco.
Good evening, Jennifer Telesco. I am a SFT member, first grade teacher, taxpayer and parent of 2 children in the Scranton School District. First, I'd start off by thanking Jonathan and Mrs. Connors for standing up for our students, the students in our district, again reiterating the need for our preschool program, the related arts, and continuing to keep our neighborhood schools open and functioning. On that note, the main reason I came to speak tonight was to discuss the ventilation system and heating component at John Adams Elementary. Since we returned to school in March and April of 2021, we knew that the ventilations, as you were going through it and fixing them, making them work, the heating element is not corrected still. It's been since we returned to school in the springtime. I've had daily conversations with my maintenance and my principal to ask about the update. And the latest I was told is over the Thanksgiving break that Scranton Electric was going to be coming in to fix the heating element on that. And we returned to school today, and it's not. So what does that actually mean? So we have heat in our building. My radiator is across the room, right where my windows are, 3 of which are nailed shut because they don't close properly. But then there's a giant vent where the cold air is blown into my room from outside, because that's the ventilation part. The problem is that there's no heating of that cold air. And as it gets colder and colder, it gets colder and colder in my room. The gymnasium is freezing cold. My kids sit with their coats and their hats and gloves on. It's not something that just came up. Since the ventilation was started to be worked and they fixed that part of it, this has been the issue since the spring. The entire summer has gone by where I expected that it would have been fixed then. It's November 30th and it's still not fixed. So there is cold air blowing in to our classrooms. It doesn't help when you have a heater across the room. They both counteract each other. So I'm again asking for an update on that. I spoke to my maintenance person this morning and he said no, they did not come and fix it. So that would be my question tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Rosemary Boland.
Good evening, directors. I will cite all of the comments you just heard this evening because I hear them every single day of the week. The other morning, I spoke with Superintendent McTiernan because she was on her way to Northeast and it was freezing cold and there was no place, actually I should say there was no room at the inn to place students anywhere. So they had to go virtual. I understand the virtual part. What I don't understand is how the system isn't fixed yet. I've listened to Adams School complain for years now. I've heard Armstrong School complaining for years and years before this board hit. One of my friends from school taught at Neil Armstrong School. She was a first grade teacher, coincidentally, and she used to have to carry a walkie-talkie around with her because she had no other means to communicate with the office and they had no way to communicate with her. So here we are, and I'm going to say at least 20 years later, and we're still listening to the same thing over and over and over again. I would like to also address the fact that you plan, according to what you were talking about last night, to do some work over at West Scranton Intermediate. You're talking about a lot of money, about $37 million. That's quite a sum. I would like you to retrace that position, because I think it's time you know, or should know, that that is one of the largest buildings in the city with the highest rate of cancers that you can possibly imagine. And that goes back to the opening of that building. Cancers that you and I would never wish upon anybody. We don't want to deal with them. They're horrific. I can start rattling off names right now of people who have died, and that is including principals from that building. Maintenance, paraprofessionals, and teachers have had some of the worst cancers. That building is notorious. And you're going to dump $37 million into a building like that. I would reconsider that if I were in your position. It's not worth it. And it's certainly not worth putting fifth graders in that school when the schools they're in right now can handle them. They are needed. They should be in an elementary building, and the middle school schedule has got to be corrected immediately, if not yesterday. The activities that are happening in our middle schools right now, you should now be informed of that. If you're not, if you need me to go through them one after the other, I'd be glad to do that, publicly or privately. It doesn't matter to me, because it's well known what's going on. It was a mistake. People make those. It's time to fix it. The middle school schedule has got to be returned, and it's got to include duty periods and prep periods for the teachers, since teachers in those buildings rarely, if ever, get a prep period. What's happening with a 9, 10-year-old fifth grader and 8th graders who are eons ahead of them is just not correct. It's a bad decision. We should not have those children mixed together at all. The Northeast Intermediate School was Scranton Technical High School. It was built for senior high school students. It was not built for elementary students. It isn't functioning well right now, and it has to be fixed. It's not right. It's not right that the chief of police and the captain in the police department know about our school. That's wrong. It shouldn't be happening now, and it has to be fixed, and I'm asking you to correct the middle school schedules ASAP, since your duty is for the health, safety, and welfare of the students in this district, let alone the staff. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rosemary. Superintendent McTiernan, are there any points you would like to address there?
Yeah, Mr. Rucker, can you come up to the microphone, please, to address the Adams situation?
Superintendent McTiernan and directors. I reached out with Harold Newell from Scranton Electric on the 10th of November. We discussed getting the steam packs in over the break.
I can't hear you, Mr. Rucker, so I'm sure nobody else can.
Could you perhaps really, could you
Yeah, if you could take off your mask, that would be, or lower it, that would be great. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
On November 10th, I reached out with Harold Newell about getting from Scranton Electric about getting the steam packs put in. I haven't received a response back. We have the steam board, Scranton Electric has the steam packs at their facility now. I'm going to work with him on getting those put in now, because not having heat's a huge issue. So I'll prioritize that. It will be taken care of.
Thank you. While you're up there, can you inform the community about the water filling stations that we received? And I know there was some brought up tonight about an individual building with regards to water turned off, and I think we all know that if the water is above that level, we're not turning it on. So I understand that some people may be frustrated with that, but that's still going to be the case. We have put filters in, but why don't you inform them about what we're going to receive, and then long-term as we move forward with the water situation. But we will not be turning the water on if it is above that level. So I think everyone needs to understand that. While it may be frustrating, and while there may be cups, and we may have to do something differently with regards to cups being in the hallway and things of that nature, but if the kids need to be able to drink water that's healthy from a cup and not from a fountain that we're above a level. So I don't know why we're still revisiting that, but that's not going to change. So I hope that's clear with regards to that. And we have to continue to get better at how we serve our kids' water. But we're not turning sinks on that are above that level.
Yes, ma'am. I've been working with the Chris Long Foundation, their Water Boys charitable organization, and at 2:30 yesterday afternoon I was notified that the school district will receive a donation for a minimum of 2 water filling stations for each one of the elementary schools, and they're looking to get more funding from the foundation, if possible, to potentially put them into the remainder of the district. So we are actually looking at accepting.
Can you explain how
donation.
those water filling stations will work for the students?
Yeah, it's a bottle filling station, so if they have a bottle or a cup or another type of container, they could take it to it. It's the ones that you see where you just put the bottle underneath, fills it up, and it also kind of gives you the tick of how many bottles you've saved going into the landfill.
So we're going to be receiving how many water filling stations from the Chris Long Foundation?
When I was told yesterday, we're looking at a minimum of 2 per elementary school,
Okay.
as they primarily focus on elementary school level students, but they're looking to the situation we have in the district, potentially, no promise on that, to go district-wide with it.
Great, and I know that while you're up there, I know that we just finished our annual lead testing, correct?
Yes, we have.
So we're waiting to receive the results from Cacciardi.
Yeah, we have not received results yet.
Okay, and when you have them, you'll present them to the public and to the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And as far as we've heard, and we do know that this is a problem, the intercom systems at several schools, and I know that you've been looking at alternative methods because some of the things we've tried haven't worked. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but we've talked about this long-term plans of how we can approach this, and maybe, you know, some of the wiring we know is very old, so we've looked at some alternatives. And could you, one of them is, right now is what they're using, which is not ideal, but it is cell phones. But is there anything else that we're looking at that you can say right now? And again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know we've been talking about this.
Yeah, it's something we have been talking about. Ultimately, the end goal would be taken care of during the capital. But what we're looking to do is more of a district-wide communications upgrade, which would allow for intercom systems, phone, all of that to be put in. It's a project that we have been working on, and we're working with Mr. Laffey, reaching out to other vendors. It's something that would, even if the internet was to go down in the district, we would still maintain communications via cell phone, if possible. It would utilize the data plan off of that, so we wouldn't have to have internet in the district for our phones to still operate on an emergency basis.
Thanks. I think you answered everything. And the only other thing that I heard tonight was several people mention that there wasn't art at the elementary school, and that's an accurate statement. We do have art at the elementary school, and we also do have music at the elementary school. Having said that, I think this brought me to my next point, that we do realize that during the process of recovery, there has been things that our students have lost. And now what we're trying to do is, obviously we just got over the hurdle of the contract, and now we are going to continue to focus on how can we restore some of those programs. It's not going to happen overnight. We have to gradually build those back in, but it is important for all of us, along with the CRO, that we start to do that. Ms. Bolin, you mentioned the related arts schedule at the middle school. That's a priority, but it's also an expense. And right now, it's not included in the budget. So, and we know because we're on the budget cycle that we're on, this is half of this year, half of next year. So that is a priority, but I don't want to make any false promises that everything's going to be restored next year or the year after. We have to build those things back, but we are all focused on that, and that's what the team is working at the central level of how we can do that financially to restore those programs. So thank you for coming and expressing, Jonathan, thank you for coming and expressing, we do realize how important the arts are for our students, and we're going to continue to work so that we can restore some of those programs. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just do want to note, I don't know if Mrs. Connors is still in the room. She may be in the area I cannot see, but I did email with Director Dempsey earlier today regarding policy 903. As I said in our correspondence, I would suggest that we look at that, and she and I realize that there are some pending changes to policy 903 that we had discussed as part of a committee meeting and never acted on, and we've added that to the list of items, and I will make sure that even though Director Dempsey will not be serving in that role going forward, I will make sure that whoever is aware of that, and we do look at it and consider a change. So thank you.
Can I just address the claim of West Intermediate causing cancer? I've heard this claim before from Mrs. Bullen, and it is a very dangerous claim to make without any evidence. So if there's some hard evidence that we have that that is actually a cause of cancer, I would like that to be presented, because it's very dangerous to make these claims of very serious diseases without any hard data.
Thank you.
I'm not discounting that, and I'm not arguing back and forth, but there has to be cause and effect. So
That would be very helpful, Rosemary, if you would provide that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Director Welby. I think that's an important point, because obviously it is a very serious matter and one we don't want to brush aside, but we do need that information. So thank you. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Then may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey? Mrs. Dempsey? Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, yes.
Thank you. Ms. Fox?
yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative. Can we just go back to the minutes? From
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes. May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 1st, 2021?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Now, item 9.1, we will have our resolutions, our motions to approve the 2022 general fund budget. We'll have a motion to approve the resolution to file of solicitor number 1, 2022, authorizing the expenditure of $196,085,142, inclusive of $1,672,605 budgetary reserves for budget year 2022. The financial impact is $196,085,142. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of solicitor number 2, 2022, authorizing the levy of a tax of 142.987 mils per $1,000 of assessed valuation per the attached. The financial impact is $43,553,679. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, authorizing the levy of Act 511 taxes under the authority of the Local Tax Enabling Act of 1965 for 2022. Rates to be separately approved. Levy 1, Earned Income Tax. Levy 2, Mercantile Business Privilege Tax License. Levy 3, Mercantile Tax. Levy 4, Business Privilege Tax. Levy 5, Occupation Privilege Tax. Levy 6, Realty Transfer Tax. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew.
Yes.
Mrs. Welby.
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey.
Yes.
Ms. Fox. Yes. Ms. Hume.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, Levy 1, Earned Income Tax. Continue the levy of 1% being a tax imposed per the attached resolution. The financial impact is $11,300,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
President Martin, not to be a nitpicker, but I think it was $11,300,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say $11,300,000?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know that it would make any legal difference, but it may be worth pointing out.
Thank you. Will you clarify that, Mrs. Orr, $11,300,000?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else on the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. McAndrew.
Yes.
Mrs. Welby.
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey.
Yes.
Ms. Fox.
Yes.
Ms. Hume.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, Levy 2, Mercantile Business Privilege Tax License, continue a tax of $5 for the school license tax as attached resolution. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Welby.
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey.
Yes.
Ms. Fox.
Yes.
Ms. Hume.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, Levy 3, Mercantile Tax. Continue a tax rate of .000452 wholesale and .000679 retail on each gross volume of business based upon annual gross receipts from the preceding year, 2021, as per the attached resolutions. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Yanni.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey.
Yes.
Ms. Fox. Yes. Ms. Hume.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew.
Yes.
Mrs. Welby.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, Levy 4, Business Privilege Tax. Continue tax rate of .00513 on each gross volume of business based upon annual gross receipts from the preceding year, 2021, as per attached resolution. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey.
Yes.
Ms. Fox. Yes. Ms. Hume.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew.
Yes.
Mrs. Welby.
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, Levy 5, Local Service Tax. Continue a tax of $5 on each individual engaging in an occupation as defined by statute per attached resolution. The financial impact is $165,000. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Dempsey.
Yes.
Ms. Fox. Yes. Ms. Hume.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew.
Yes.
Mrs. Welby.
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 3, 2022, Levy 6, Realty Transfer Tax. continue a tax of 0.5% on the transaction of the transfer of real property per attached resolution. The financial impact is $700,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 4, 2022, approve general conditions per the attached resolution. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 5, 2022, appointment of real estate and/or 511 tax collector for year 2022 per the attached resolution. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 6, 2022, appointment of 511 tax collector, earned income tax collector for year 2022 per the attached resolution. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 7, 2022, designation of depositories for tax collections. First National Bank, Clark Summit, is hereby a designated depository in which the funds and monies in the custody of tax collectors may be deposited per attached resolution. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Sorry, I got out of order here. Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 8, 2022, appointment of administrative hearing officer per the attached resolution. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Resolution to file of Solicitor Number 9, 2022, adopt the Taxpayer Bill of Rights Disclosure Statement pursuant to Act 50 of 1998, Section 8423, per the attached. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Ginny, I am correct that that is it, right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
Do you agree, Pat?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Agenda item D2, we will have a motion to approve a resolution in support of the Pennsylvania school funding litigation for fair funding as attached. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? We discussed this and read the full motion last evening, and we will distribute it and make it available once approved. Anybody else? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Item D3, a motion to approve the Boost Lingo agreement as recommended by the EL program manager to provide K through 12 ELL students and families with language support. Boost Lingo is an interpretation platform that provides interpreting services for over 350 languages. Interpreters will support staff, students, and families via phone call or conference. The financial impact is $95 per month using Title III funds. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the question?
On the question, I'd just like to once again thank Ms. Cosgrove and her team for bringing this much necessary service to our school community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but we are bringing this back because there was an increase in the monthly fee. There was a little bit of a delay in this getting approved at meetings, and in that time, the monthly fee did increase. It is still well within Ms. Cosgrove's budget, is covered by the appropriate funding source, but I just wanted to bring this back since there was
That's
that
correct.
change.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Item E1, the executive summary is a motion that bids were received on Tuesday, November 16th, 2021 for the following Scranton School District roof replacement projects. The bid process used was focused on making sure we had qualified contractors, that materials would be able to be procured in a timely manner, and to ensure that the complex phasing required by the projects was implemented correctly. In order to accomplish this, we used the competitive bid process through the Omnia Purchasing Network. This process was vetted out by the district team and the district solicitor for compliance with ESSER funding. Motion is to approve the following construction contracts for the Scranton School District roof replacement projects to Garland DBS for Contract 1, West Scranton High School, $3,140,461. The subcontractor is Jotan Incorporated. Contract 2, Robert Morris Elementary School, $614,488. Subcontractor Dunmore Roofing. And Contract 3, West Scranton Intermediate School, $6,270,952. Subcontractor also Jotan Incorporated. The motion to approve the contracts is contingent on the receipt of ESSER funding and subject to proper execution of the contracts, insurance, and bonding as required in the contract documents. This information was reviewed with the board at the November 29, 2021 meeting, School Board Operations Committee meeting. The financial impact is $12,110,363 as the estimated total project cost. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
President Gilmartin, this is as we discussed yesterday, this approval of this motion does give the ability for contracts to be immediately moved forward on as soon as the ESSER approvals from the state are received, does it not?
Yes.
So that there will be no need to further delay any process. If we get the go-ahead, we can move quickly.
Correct.
I thought, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
We will have a motion to approve the West Scranton Intermediate School Modular Project. This project is required for the movement of 5th grade to West Intermediate during the renovation of the school. Details previously provided for board review. The financial impact is $3 million. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second? On the question. Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAnder?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Yes. Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Item E3, we will have a motion to approve the architectural design firm agreement for the West Intermediate School renovations project with KCBA Architects to design the 5th grade wing. Details previously provided for board review. Option 2 will be selected based on capital use prior to ESSER approval. If ESSER funding is approved prior to January 31st, 2022, option 3 or 4 can be selected. The financial impact is $327,260. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. McAnder?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Item E4, a motion to approve change order 21-08-27 EC-001 for the electrical permit fees for the emergency lighting upgrade at Northeast Intermediate as previously provided for board review. This change is a standard and predetermined change. The financial impact is $2,385.50. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAnder?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
E5, we will have a motion to approve change order 21-10-26 MC-CO-003 for the repair of the Northeast Intermediate Auditorium ceiling as previously provided for board review. The financial impact is $34,152.31. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
Just briefly, President Gilmartin,
Yes.
that we did discuss this last night at the Operations Committee meeting, and apparently the work has been assessed already, and we're hoping to have these repairs completed and have the auditorium back in use at East Intermediate in January. Mr. Rucker reassured us last night that this was the plan, and we look forward very much to getting the auditorium at Northeast back into service.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAnder?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Item E6, motion to approve change order 21-09-23 EAC CO-001 for additional asbestos abatement work at Northeast Intermediate School as previously provided for board review. The financial impact is $5,822.50. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAnder?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
E7, a motion to approve change order 21-09-23 EAC CO-001 for additional asbestos abatement work in Charles Sumner, Francis Willard, and William Prescott schools as previously provided for board review. The financial impact is $9,515. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAnder?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
E8, Motion to approve change order 21-08-27MC-001 for the mechanical permit fees for the emergency lighting upgrade at Northeast Intermediate as previously provided for board review. The financial impact is $3,499.48. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
So E4 is for the electrical permit fees and E8 is for the mechanical permit fees, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, that's my understanding. Mr. Rucker, that's correct, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And the amount of this change order, is this in line with the policy? I mean, I understand because these are the permitting fees, maybe we're just trying to go through the same motions with each of these instances. But does the superintendent have the authority up to a certain threshold for change orders?
$5,000.
Okay.
So these were just brought, Mr. Rucker brought them,
Okay.
unknowing. So
Okay.
we're being safe here.
Yeah.
But yes, that is
Why
correct.
not?
You are, yes. But yes, moving forward, we already discussed this in
Okay.
our staff meeting. Moving forward, I would approve
Perfect.
that.
Very good, thank
Yeah,
you.
Yes,
Anyone else on the question?
President Gilmartin, I seem to remember, did we not raise the limits for approval for the amount that could be authorised without the need for board approval? I did do back in the early...
Yes,
Mr. Laffey
I think
can answer.
Mr. Laffey.
Well, what we amended was policy 610, which is purchases subject to bid and quotation. So that just aligned our bid thresholds and quote thresholds with the state allowed amount. This is policy 831 specifically related, I think it's policy 831 specifically related to change orders, and it's currently set at 5,000.
Okay, possibly President Gilmartin.
Yes, I think that's something we should look at, absolutely. Thank you.
think we
Anyone
should do
else on the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Fox? Yes. Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Yes. Mrs. Jani?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilmartin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
E9, a motion to approve the Health and Safety Plan 2021-2022 revision. The Scranton School District will require that all students K through 12 and staff wear masks until the Scranton School Board next voting meeting in 2022. Indoor sporting events and extracurricular activities. Athletes while competing are not required to wear masks. Coaches and student athletes while not competing during competition are required to wear masks. All spectators are required to wear masks at all times. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Yes. Mrs. Jani?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Gilmartin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
F1, motion to approve the personnel report as attached. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Yes. Mrs. Jani?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox? Yes. Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Ms. Gilmartin?
No.
8 affirmative, 1 negative, motion passes.
F2, a motion to approve stop-loss policy with Vista renewal as previously provided for review. The stop-loss policy protects the district financially against high-level health care claims. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Yes. Mrs. Jani?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox? Yes. Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Ms. Gilmartin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
F3, a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the Scranton Federation of Teachers, Professional Employees effective 9/1/2017 through 8/31/2023, on the terms and conditions set forth in conjunction with the existing articles, recognizing that the same may contain common errors, grammatical mistakes, all of which will be identified. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
On the question, and this will be for both F3 and F4, there's no secret that this was a very tumultuous time in our district and in our community. I can say for myself, and I'm sure my colleagues can say the same, that it was during this time that I had my most honest, rawest conversations with various stakeholders. Even though there is much work that needs to be done in our district and in our greater community, I truly hope that the associations and the relationships that were strained during this time can begin to heal. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cruz. That was very well said. Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Ms. Gamartin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
F4, motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the paraprofessionals of the Scranton Federation of Teachers, effective 9/1/2017 through 8/31/2023, on the terms and conditions set forth in conjunction with the existing articles, recognizing that the same may contain common errors, grammatical mistakes, all of which may be identified. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Ms. Gamartin?
I'm sorry. Yes.
9 affirmative.
F5, a motion to approve amendments to the contract with the superintendent as per the attached summary document. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
On the question, I would just like to state very briefly, there was some misinformation posted regarding this on the website, and this is for Mrs. McTiernan, Mr. Laffey, and Mr. Castrovinci. That information has been corrected, and to clarify, it is a one-time bonus in line with those received by the 32 BJ members, the Act 93 members, and the SFT that was incorporated into their contract.
Thank you. I was going to note the additional information at the bottom of this motion. The Chief Recovery Officer presents the attached amendment to the current contract with the superintendent for our consideration. The intention of this amendment, as Director Yanni just said, is to provide parity with the agreements reached with SFT, 1147, SEIU 32 BJ, and Act 93 to allocate savings and revenues as outlined in the recovery plan. Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. McMartin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
F6, motion to approve the amendments to the contract with the Director of Human Resources as per the attached summary document. The same note of parity with the agreements reached with SFT, SEIU, and Act 93 remain. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Ms. Gamartin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
F7, motion to approve the amendments to the contract with the business manager as per the attached summary, again in parity with the 3 other contracted groups. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Fox? Yes. Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Yes. Mrs. Yanni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Gilmore?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Before we adjourn, what is it that we need to address, Mr. Addy, Mrs. McTiernan?
Yes, can you please go, we need to discuss the modulars, and I'm going to ask Mr. Laffey and Mr. Rucker to address this.
This is agenda E2.
Certainly. The motion was written and states that to approve the Western Intermediate Modular Project with the project cost of $3 million. The $3 million is the budgeted amount for the project. Actual bids were received for the modular units themselves, and on the second page of the attached resolution, it's listed for D&M construction of $1,779,600. I believe the intent of the motion, I can ask Mr. Rucker to confirm, was not only to approve the project total budget itself, but also to award the contract so that we may proceed.
Okay.
Right, so we just
Yes.
want to make sure, Mr. Addy, if you could check that to make sure.
So the project itself is 1.8 million.
The total budget of the project, which is the budget, is $3 million. Included in the budget is the actual modular units themselves, the construction of them, which the bid came in at $1,779,600. The lowest bidder meeting the requirements was D&M Construction.
Okay, and this motion is intended to approve that RFP as the lowest bidder?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. And is that what this motion to approve the West Scranton Intermediate, I just want to read this.
No, I was concerned. We need to have the person in.
I think we need to have a friendly amendment based on the reading of this, because this does not read what you're just saying, although the documentation supports what it is that you're trying to achieve.
I agree. The motion does not match the attachment.
Okay. So, are we rescinding the original motion, or, and then?
Yeah, we have to, based on the error of the way this was worded, we're going to have to rescind this motion and fashion a new motion, which we just discovered is this one is incorrect.
Okay.
But the documentation that supports it is here.
Is here.
And the intent was prevalent in this documentation.
Okay. So.
You have to make a motion to rescind E2.
And is it Director Hume who needs to do that? Did you make the original motion?
Yes, I think I did.
That would
Ginny, is that?
That would make sense then for you to do that.
I move that motion, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back.
E2.
Motion E2 as passed by the board on 30 November 2021 be rescinded in its entirety.
I'll second.
On the question? Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes?
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Gilmore?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
Given the time critical nature of this, do we have an amendment for a similar project award that we can amend to vote on this evening?
Yeah, Director Hume, I believe, motion E1 that was read before contains, a similar format, minus the executive summary, but it would contain that the contracts are contingent upon the proper execution of contracts, insurance, and bonding as required within the contract documents.
So if I look that up and amend it, I can do that pretty quickly, I think.
So shall I ask once again for a motion to approve the West Scranton Intermediate School Modular Project. This project is required for the movement of 5th grade to West Intermediate during the renovation of the school. Details previously provided for board review. The financial impact is $3 million. I need a...
Yeah, I think what Mr. Lappy is suggesting is that we take the wording and the structure of E1, rework that very quickly.
We got to accept it first, all right?
Right, but I think we need to reconsider E2. We need a motion and a second for that, and then on the question, the friendly amendment using the wording from E1.
Okay.
I'm a little lost, I'm going to be honest. So
we have to accept it again, and then on
the same motion that we just rescinded?
Yeah, and then we do the friendly amendment.
Okay, so
yes.
we're going to go through, I got it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so...
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Okay. So then, on the question, Director Hume, when you're ready.
On the question, I'm just trying to briefly, quickly wind up.
Take your time.
It's going to take a little time. So bids were received on, Mr. Rucker, do you have that information, or is that in the supporting documents?
He's working on that. I think Mr. Lappy's working on it.
Okay, so
Okay, he's working on it. Right.
bids were received on November 11th. Right, yep. And we received the bids from, this is above my pay grade, but
He's working.
I'm going to type
okay,
it.
you're okay.
If you give
So
me
I'll just work on the wording. Okay.
I feel like the Jeopardy theme song.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. How many words can I make out of these letters? That actually comes from, they shift where they're left, which is a feature. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the other one. Thank you, my hero.
Is this okay?
Okay, do you think we should read in that other language? That is necessary. All right. Okay. Okay. I would like to move a friendly amendment to E2. Award bids were opened on the 11th of November 2021 for temporary modular classroom installation to D&M Construction at a contract cost of $1,779,600. Contracts are contingent and subject to proper execution of contracts, insurance and bonding required in the contract documents. I've moved it.
May I have a second on the friendly amendment?
Second.
On the question of the friendly amendment?
So that friendly amendment would go then after the last sentence here, details previously provided for board review, and then would be the friendly amendment.
And I will read the entire
Thank you.
bit back before we vote.
Okay.
Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please, on the friendly amendment.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby? Mrs. Gianni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox? Yes. Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
On the original motion to approve the West Scranton Intermediate School Modular Project. This project is required for the movement of 5th grade to West Intermediate during the renovation of the school. Details previously provided for board review. Award bids were opened on 11/11/2021 for temporary modular classroom installation to D&M Construction at a contract cost of $1,779,600. Contracts are contingent and subject to proper execution of contracts, insurance, and bidding required in the contract documents. So we are, okay. Roll call, please, Mrs. Orr.
Mr. Malloy?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mrs. Welby?
Yes.
Mrs. Gianni?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dempsey?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Hume?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
9 affirmative.
I believe that concludes our business this evening. Do we think? Anybody? Anything else? Well, I thank you all again for a very efficient meeting, and Director Cruz, thank you again for your words. It is something I think we all need to keep in mind. This has been a very, very difficult chapter in this district for everyone involved, and I couldn't agree more that we need to move forward. And I just hope that we all remember, with all of our responsibilities, the most important one is that we have to strive every day to be a good example for children. And I will certainly do my best to do that, and I'd ask the same of all of you. So, thank you. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.